I'm joined today by Rosi. Rosi works for Boyum, and Rosi and I, we worked together for a few years now, haven't we, with a variety of different products. But today's presentation is really around some of the solutions within what is known as Boyum Cloud. So I know you as an organisation already use Boyum products. You know, I believe you've got Project Scan in your warehouse or warehouses, and you've got B1 Up and Print and Delivery in use in the business as well. But this is an additional solution that came out just over a year ago, wasn't it, Rosi?
I think it's 2 years now. Yeah.
That one already. And really, it's all around providing additional cloud-based solutions specifically for, well, it was originally thought just manufacturing, but some of the modules, or one of them especially, is something that can be utilised in just a distribution business. But instead of me talking about it, what I'll do is I'll hand over to you, Rosi, before I lose my voice.
Thank you.
But as I say, David, at any point you've got any questions, either raise a hand with the icon at the top of the screen, or please do just talk to us and ask away.
Okay. Boyum Cloud, it's actually, we have 3 different products, and today I talk about all of them, but I want to touch on with Produce, because really helping your manufacturing process in SAP Business One. Actually, all 3 of them together helps your logistics. We have built, which is the product management, where you can build bill of material on a cloud platform on your browser. The beauty is on that you actually can do cost calculation before you upload your bill of material into your SAP Business One. I'll touch it on since I have you here. Produce are terminals for SAP Business One, and the beauty on that is you can configure it and say, and I'll show it to you, you can configure saying, hey, I'm issuing this material ahead of time for production with Product Scan, for example, because I have customers that do that. So when I am on my terminal, I can see, hey, I don't have to issue this material anymore. It won't let me because it was issued ahead of time. Great product. To me, this is almost a must produce for anybody who runs production in SAP. And then we have Inspect, which is quality control. If you do quality control in your organization, that's the solution for you. I want to show you this. Since you run SAP Business One already, this is something you will understand. Where do our products come in? The cloud products. So you have built, which is the master data manager. So this supports your item master. Okay, so you have materials, you can add new materials on the cloud base. You can create your bill of material, your product requests. Then on Produce, to me, it's like an additional module for your SAP Business One, because so you do your production orders, you run your MRP and so on, but then you are out there on the production floor and you have somebody to manage the production orders to make sure they're done on time, make sure they're working on it when they're supposed to work on. This is when Produce comes in and you have full visibility what's going on the production floor. Okay, and then you have Inspect. So on Inspect, you can do, okay, you know what? I have a certain item group, a certain items, certain vendors where I have to check the items when I receive them into my database, and I want the system to create an inspection order automatically, the same after production as you see here. So I'm going to touch on build really quick. If you haven't seen it, just so you see it. If I go here, this is how you would access your cloud products. So you're in a browser, you have a tablet, you have a computer. You don't need to have SAP running because we are connected to SAP. And in build, what is this? It's a product request tool. So I had all those requests. I always have access to my items. So you have a product request, and then you have engineers, maybe they need to build this bill of material. I had a companies in the food industry, you know, when COVID hit, they always had to do these different food packages, or soap industry. So we had them all. You can access your inventory items from here, and you see blue items are purchased items, yellow items are produced items. You can always go to a produced item here and change the bill of material. This is a bill of material in your database, in your SAP. So maybe you say, hey, we're going to discontinue with this item, but we are going to start adding this item to this bill of material, and we need 2 of those. You save it here, and now the bill of material is saved in SAP. You also have your resources here, you have your operations here. Of course, they come from SAP. You can always create a new item, resource or operation. So, but let's say you get a request. I'm sending you a request and say, David, I need you to build me this. So you would go in here and you start your request. So you name the request, you say, hey, I have to have this bill of material finished on September 30th. So I have 1 week to build this. Maybe I send you attachments, maybe I send you a draft, maybe I send you a picture and I said, hey, you know, David, this is kind of what I'm looking at. Can you build this for me? Can you put this together for me? Or maybe I send you specs. Maybe I send you whatever. You can also create tasks. For example, hey, you know, I have to ask Rosie something about the color. I have to ask her about this part or whatsoever. And then you can always say, hey, I did this task. Here is the item I'm building. Okay, so this is a new item I'm building. Then here is your bill of material. You can import from Excel, from a spreadsheet, your raw material. What do you need to build this item? Of course, you can always do it manually and add one material after the other. You can copy from another item. So you have all the options to have all the shortcuts you want. Then you would go over here and say, okay, to build this item, I need operation 3, I need operation 5, maybe I need another operation. You just drag and drop. Okay, so if I, for example, delete this one and say, okay, I need operation 3 and I need actually this resource to make this. I have a setup time. So you set it up the way you want it. And then you say, okay, this bill of material and this go here, or you say all of it goes here, or this one goes here. You just drag and drop and create your bill of material. A very simple way to create your bill of material. I know that was not on the agenda today, but since you're here, I'll show it to you. You go to item structure. You can say it's a different view of your bill of material. You can always open up a sub-assembly here, which is very nice. You cannot do that in SAP. You have to call it up. So I say, hey, this is a sub-assembly. It's yellow. This is a produced item within this. What does it take to make that? And also here, you could always drill back here to this other sub-assembly. What's my favorite is this cost calculation. You do a cost calculation before you upload this bill of material into SAP Business One. So I have my labor and material cost, I have my sales cost. This is my sales price. Are you happy with it? Or maybe you say, you know, Rosie, she bugged me so much, so I'm going to charge her 15% sales and admin cost, and it keeps changing the price. Down here, you have a chart overview, and then here you have a list overview, list price. So you have unit price, you have total cost, the same with resources. Those are your items. So then when you're happy with it, so this is my bill of material. You can always change the status of it. You can go in here and upload it to SAP Business One. Then you release this product, this will upload it to your SAP Business One. So this is built. What this does is really helping you right here on the Master Data Manager. Okay? But then you have produce. So let's go over to produce next. So you have your production orders, you create your purchase orders, your production orders, and now you will have built all those production orders, and you need somebody to actually handle those production orders. So you have the manager, full visibility what's going on the production floor, and then you have the operator. They're executing the production order. They have a tablet. I'm coming to work and say, hey, start with this operation. And that's produce. David, if you have any questions, please just ask me. So I'm logging on to my database and I'm the manager. And as soon as I log on, I have a dashboard and I know exactly what's going on the shop floor. So I see that Yarmi is working on production order 305 and she's using this resource. I'm working on this production order and it looks like I'm not using a resource. I can always drill back and look at this production order and I know which item it is, I know which customer it is for, and I see it's high priority. And I see it on the first operation somebody's working on the second operation, there was a partial stop. So I also see how many I have in low, medium, and high priority. And I also see how many I closed the last 7 days and how many have been on time and not on time. I can go in here and you have full list of all your production orders in your SAP Business One. I see how many operations each one has. That means route stages. I see what's been worked on. I see which has partial stopped, what has not been worked on. I have all those priorities here. So you as the manager have full visibility. Right here you see some finalized. That means, oh, this one has been finished. You reviewed everything and you can say, I want to finalize this production order. That means it's closing it in SAP Business One. You also see those unapproved. That means your operators on the shop floor cannot see them yet. They cannot work on it. You're the production manager. You release them for them to work on whenever you're ready. If I go to the operator, see, this is the list I see. All the release production orders I can see. I'm going to go to this one. So I see on this one, this is a production order. There is 10 packs I have to do and 5 were completed. So it was a partial stop. That's why it's blue. This is the resource I need to use. And those are the 2 items. This one is set to backflush. This one I have to book because it's set to manual. So you can go to one, for example, this one says not required. This is a configuration you do in here because I know that the reason this says not required, that means you're issuing it ahead of time and you most likely use Protomix scan. Very common. I'm going to go back to this one and I'm going to start this. I'm going to make a couple more of this and I'm going to read my instructions first. You can put instructions for the operator, which is a text line on your operation in SAP Business One when you create your production orders. So I write my instructions and I'm going to start my operation. And there we go, the time is ticking. What's really nice now, when I go to the manager and I go to the dashboard, guess what? I see, oh, there we go. Rosi is working on 305, which I was working on it earlier, but she actually on 308 I was working on, but she's also working on 305 and she's using this resource. And what else did change? Hey, I closed 2 production orders the last 7 days. Earlier, I only had 1, which was late, but I closed another one on time. That's the one I just finalized. So it's real-time data. You have full visibility what's going on. So let's go to the operator. And I'm going to say there was planned quantity 20, nothing has been completed. And I'm going to say, I'm going to finish. And I say more work is required. I have a partial stop. and I made 10 of those products. I don't have any scrap. I could record scrap. I'm going to say next. I did not use a resource on that, remember? It's just something I didn't use a resource. And it's gonna say I need 10 from this item, and this item is set to backflash, so I can't do anything. And I'm gonna say next, and I'm going to finish this. And it's gonna book in SAP the partial stop. Again, I'm going back to the dashboard to refresh it quick. You will see I'm only working on one production order now. And that's the beauty of it. You have full visibility. So I'm only working on 3 or 5, and Jeremy is working on 3 or 5. So we are working on 2 different operations. So I'm going to go back, and what I'm going to do is we're going to stop this one. Let's say we made 1 pack. So I'm going to say stop and say more work is required. Also, I'm not finished and did 1 pack. This is the time. So I have a resource here. So it says it should have taken you 1 hour. It took you 2 minutes. But I cannot do anything because it's set to backflash. If it would have been set to manual, I could actually change the time. That comes from SAP. So this is nice to see. So I have 2 materials. One is again set to backflash. It books it automatically. But this one is set to manual because it's a batch item, for example. And I'm going to say, you know what? I did not use this batch. I actually used this batch for whatever reason. And I used 8 of that item. And I'm going to say next. And again, you have this nice overview telling the operator, hey, you're supposed to make 5 and you made only 1. This is going to be incomplete because that's exactly what I said. So I completed 1, but it's telling me, hey, you had some material differences because I needed more on this item. And me as the operator, I know what I used, and I say, yes, that's correct, and I'm going to finish that to issue this material. And it's done. Again, I'm going back to my dashboard. I just want you to see it. So Rosi is not working on anything right now because the 2 operations I worked on, I just stopped them. I did a partial stop, but it doesn't matter, but I'm not working on it anymore. So full visibility on what's going on the production floor. Have a nice dashboard. You have a detailed view. You can always change the priority manually. If you see any one that has no frame, that's calculated automatically, but if you change it manually, you have a frame around, so you have full visibility on that. Oh, one more thing I want to show you. If you want to release one of those production orders, you see, I don't see 306 here. So you as the manager say, hey, I want to release that. But before I release it, I think that's a wonderful feature. I want to check my material if it's available. Do I have the material to make this production order? There we go. You have a problem. This one is not available. The other one's available. So maybe you don't want to release it yet. Let me try another one. You see, it's looking at your inventory. These ones are all available. So you can say, okay, I can release that now. And I'm going to prove it. It's going to release it also in SAP. And you will see 307, the operator will have available now. I was too slow to click over here. But this totally improves your production process because you don't have to go with the paperwork out on the production floor. You don't have to yell out there, hey, what are you working on? You have full visibility, and the operators have a nice terminal. They have a tablet, and they just start the operations they need to work on. That was produce. So one more thing I want to show you is inspect, quality control. Basically the same scenario. You have the manager, but since SAP doesn't have anything on inspect, what you do is you set up all your inspection orders, sampling plans, everything in inspect, and then you have the operator who executes the inspection plan. So again, if I go in here, my Launchpad, those are all my products. I'm going to go to Inspect Manager first. So right here, you see all the inspection orders. Those are existing inspection orders. You see which ones are in progress, which ones are completed, what is the results. I also see where they were coming from. So they came from goods receipts, they come from a production receipt, or I manually created one. Maybe you found some pieces in a corner and you had to create a manual inspection order. Happens all the time. So let's see completed. This one is completed, it failed. Let's check it out. What happened? Oh, I had two samples. I took sample 2 of the products and it failed. And I see this was from a goods receipt, from this goods receipt 7 days ago, and it was done by this person. Okay, I want to send the customer a quality certificate so you can print this automatically for me, not automatically, by clicking on it and print it out to send it to your vendor. So you have full visibility. They're in progress right here. So what's going on this? So they're working on it. Oh, I have 6 samples right here, and they created, they're only working on the first one. They haven't done the other ones. So I have full visibility again, what's going on the quality control floor. So here you set up your inspection plans. You can have different inspection plans. It's up to you. Every company is different, and that's the beauty of it. So you go in here and set them up and say, okay, the first test is maybe a visual test. It's a yes or no. If they say no, they have to put a defect code in there because you want to report on it. The second test is something they have to wait. Or maybe they have to measure something or whatsoever. And you can keep going, add another test, maybe another attribute test, maybe another variable test. You just keep going. And you can have many different tests, as you saw here. Then you have the sampling plans. You set them up. So in my company, it doesn't matter. As soon as I receive more than 5, quantity more than 5, I always have 5 samples. It's a flat amount. I always do 5 samples. But of course, you can put a logic in there and say, no, you know what? If I receive in, let's talk about goods receipt or receive from production. If I receive in between 1 and 20, I want 10% samples. I want the system to create 10% of samples. 21 to 40, I want it to create 20% samples. Okay, 41 and up, 30%. So you just keep going and the system will do it for you. Okay, here you set up your measurement units because every company is different. Maybe you density, maybe you have to do humidity. You set that up here. It has nothing to do with SAP. It's for your production orders. But what's really nice is this automation. You set it up so it creates those production orders automatically with your rules you have here. For example, here I'm saying if I receive items from any of those vendors, I wanted to use inspection plan 1, this sampling plan rule, and I wanted to create 1 order per document line or per batch, create 1 order per document line or per serial number, release the production inspection order automatically because I want the operator to work on it right away. I don't want to release it manually, me as the manager, which you can also do. Finalize it if it passes. And what's really nice, if you have batch items and you bring them in as locked, you can say, hey, release the batch. If the inspection order passes, release this batch. So you can automate it. You can say or, and you set up your logic. Maybe and the item is a certain item or items in a certain item group or certain properties. You set up your rule. What this does, it creates the sampling, the inspection orders automatically. So let's do one, okay? Let's go in here and I'm gonna go to SAP just to show you, and let's do a goods receipt. And of course you can do the same thing on receipt from production. Absolutely, same rules. and then you receive it in from production. But it's easier for me. Actually, I could have done one. Actually, let me see if I just closed one in. Production receipt. Remember the one I just, was it today? Remember? Oh no, it was yesterday. I received something from production and it created an inspection order with 2 samples. I had 20, 10% is 2. Didn't even know I did that. See, I closed the production order, I received it in, and it automatically did it. But let's do let's do a goods receipt. I'm gonna go here, production receipt in here, and let's do this one. I think this was one, and I'm gonna do 3 items. Let's do use a lot, and we're gonna do this. We're gonna say we received 10 in, because I want you to see how the automation works, because I have the sampling plane that needs to look at the so this should be 10%, 10%, and this should do 20% of samples. So I'm gonna add it. I don't know that that there will be inspection orders. Watch this now. You should see 3 inspections orders coming in, and they just did. Today's date. And you see, this is the 10, that item I received 10 in. 10% samples is 1. You received this one in. 10% samples is 2, because it's 20. And this should have 20% samples. It's 8. It did it for me. And you also see it released automatically, because I wanted to. If I go here, what I'm trying to avoid, that I don't have to click that release button, because if it's not released, the quality control person cannot see it. But let's go, and now I'm going to go to the operator. So the operator works just like in Produce. I'm working on all those. But you see those new quality control orders already here. So I click on one. I'm going to say, okay, that's a good receipt. It just came in. It's from this vendor. And I'm going to say passed. And I'm going to measure this. I'm going to say next. It's 2 samples. Okay, this one failed. And I'm going to have a defect, because I want to report on it. And this was 1.25. That was okay. And I'm going to review this order. And I'm going to say complete this order. And it's gone, 240. If I go to the manager, and let me refresh, should be a little bit quicker. You see it's finalized. That means it's finished. The operator actually said, I'm done. It's completed, but it failed. You can go in here, do your certificate even from here, and you can always drill back and say, oh, I forgot to do a couple. The third one, it doesn't matter. It failed. It's not even finished. That means they didn't finish this or this. Okay, and then you as the manager can finalize it here to get rid of it. You did whatever you had to do, maybe printed a certificate and sent it to the vendor. So again, you have the operator, they execute those inspection orders. Here I have 8 samples and I did 2 already, and the manager can see it. And you have the manager, again, they have full visibility what's going on the inspection floor. That was inspect.
It's that module itself is, we've been crying out for that. I presume you're doing that sort of thing in Smartsheet at the moment, are you, David?
Yeah.
No. Yikes.
There's a lot of processes, Rosie, that are done in it's effectively a project management tool, which is like an extension of Excel. The downside of it is it can do a lot of things, but the downside is that it's a separate source of information again. And the whole point of Boyum Cloud is it's utilizing the data in SAP. That's key. And it does make a difference, because you then get better reporting. That's ultimately the goal of the management team of any company.
Yeah.
I'll have you got brochures on this, David? Because I'll happily forward them for you to share with Paul and others if you wish.
Maybe.
That's fine.
Because
You've obviously got a copy of this. The video of this will be available for you to share. But if I send you the brochures as well for build, produce, and inspect, we've got our own Ascari one. I'll get those across to you. And then when Paul's back from holiday next week, if it's something that's worth exploring further at this stage, or maybe it's a Q1 or Q2 thing, let me know, and I'll keep Rosie in the loop as well.
Okay, thank you very much.
No problem.
You're welcome.
Speak to you
Have a
soon.
good day. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.